the Great Harmony Sentinel Dwarf Empire mod spotlight. The mod has 34 units for the dwarf faction. We're going to be checking out how they look, their stats, and of course showing off a little bit of combat. Don't forget to hold a grudge and click that like and subscribe button. Speaking of grudges, we're starting off with one right off the bat. We have a not lore-friendly spear infantry unit here. Unless you're looking way back, I mean, it would have been lore-friendly like in the older versions, but currently it is not. And I will say this unit has some good longevity for the front line, and I do like it. Now we've got a halberd infantry dwarf unit. I'm pretty sure these are Berdishi. I could be wrong. But overall, I've got to say I like the unit, but at the same time, it just depends on what you want. The last unit's more defensive focused, while this unit has a large uptick in melee attack compared to the last unit. So I think they're both very viable, and I do like the unit. Sticking with the same pattern here, if you look at these halberd infantry, the melee attack is very close to the last unit, but the melee defenses now went back up. So overall, this is a better unit. It's pretty much an upgrade. I do like this unit quite a bit. It looks really good in combat, and I'm a big fan of the design. So I would definitely run this. High armor, too. I actually was not a fan of this unit. It's only 12 individuals in the unit. And yeah, their stats are pretty okay, but I mean, they just get swarmed. I mean, I just wasn't a fan. I would not see myself using this unit. Some of you, though, may love this. It may be something you like to throw into the battlefield. The grudges just keep building with this mod. We have an entire section of cavalry coming up. These first guys here are shock cavalry. And I will say, though, I do like their mounts. I like the rams. I like the guys up top, shield, axe. It looks pretty good, and I really liked how they performed in combat, so this would be viable to use. I can tell the modders put a lot of effort into this unit to try to make it fit in, but I'm just overall not a big fan of the idea behind it. So, I mean, they're unbreakable. They're like Slayer Cav. I just less of a fan of this. I would not see myself running it just for roleplay reasons and maybe lore reasons. Going back to a more traditional cavalry, except for these guys have hammers, which to me is very dwarf. You know, I could just definitely see them riding on these rams. And the rams look good too. Blacked out rams, the gold, they look like a high tier unit. I mean, just everything on them. I mean, it's a really great looking unit, and the stats are really good too, in my opinion. Sadly, I did not get ranged firepower on these guys, showcasing them in combat. But as you can see on their back, they do have a rifle back there. Their range is 160. Their missile strength is very low. I mean, overall, this is a low tier range cav unit. But if you like that, then it's going to be good for you. You could take out the last unit and just keep this one. I really like it. It's pretty much a higher tier missile cav. They have a grenade launcher. They shoot an explosive. It looks really good in combat. Their stats are good, and I love the black, the red. I mean, it just an awesome looking unit. Really like this. Kind of a lazier unit, but you know, if they already made the asset, they might as well just throw it into the unit. So we pretty much just have the you know, mountain goats here, the rams, what do you want to call them. They pretty much are just by themselves. And so yeah, it's just another unit to have. I guess if you really needed some super low tier cavalry, it could work at a jiffy, you know, but that's the only recommendation I have. We're now going into the missile infantry section, which is quite a few here. We have these long-range infantry grenade launcher troops, and I've got to say, really like it. Their secondary also looks epic. If you see that big axe on their back, overall, huge fan of this unit, what it does in combat, and how it looks. And their stats are pretty good on range and missile strength. I think this unit's a game changer in combat. As you can see on the abilities list here, it can deploy caltrops, wheel lock guns, organ guns, also landmines. I will show the landmines off so you can check that out. It can also repair mechanical constructs. So yeah, overall, huge fan of this unit, and they look fantastic. Honestly, when I first seen these, I was really conflicted if I was going to like them, but then after I seen them in combat, I was like, holy cow, that's epic. So pretty much they shoot a rocket up in the air, and it will burst in the air, and it kind of does like an air burst pattern, hitting shrapnel all over the ground, and it's fantastic. I love the effect of this, so I would run it. These guys have a lot more effect on their firepower than I thought they would, but I didn't really look at their missile strength closely before I seen them in combat. Their range is 145, missile strength is 176. Their leadership's high, armor's pretty good. Overall, though, they do fire damage. It says armor piercing. They're anti-infantry. They're fantastic. Everybody loves Gatling guns. I mean, it's just how it is. You just love the style of this, you know, them just going full auto in combat. It just looks phenomenal. So just overall big fan. I like the backpack, all the ammo being there. I like the spinning Gatling gun, you know, or crank gun. But overall, really love it. Another cursed unit here. Was really surprised by this unit. So pretty much they're like dwarf flamethrower helicopters guys. I mean, that's the best way to describe it here. They're very OP in my opinion. They fly up high and they're shooting flames down below, but I would run this, but man, they're just a good unit. We're getting into the Terminator Rune Guardians, as I like to call them. These guys just have a lot of over-the-top weaponry. This guy has like a small Gatling gun weapon or crank gun weapon on his arm and an axe. All of these units did really good in combat. I mean, they're definitely an elite tier unit in my opinion. We're now losing the range fire, but we're just giving them two weapons. As you'll see, a lot of these are either double axe or hammer and axe. I've got to say, or double hammer even. I've got to say, I like the look of this one more than I actually do the one with the ranged fire, just because I like the dual wielding weapons. It really fits into the theme, and I'm just a big fan of this. A lot of these units will swap around stats quite a bit. As you see here, the melee attack is now dropped down because it's not a dual wield unit, but the melee defenses went up. So pretty much it's a spear and shield unit, has charge defense versus large. Overall, big fan of this unit. I think it looks really phenomenal in combat. Their shield looks good, and I like the spear. And now you see why I call him the Terminator, because you have that bright red eye. And this guy literally just has pretty much the same version of the last ones, except for he has a big crank gun, Gatling gun with him. Overall, these guys did really good in combat. Just a huge fan of this. I would definitely run this. I don't know if I would run a bunch of these, but I at least want one in my army. This Rune Giant, very similar to the last units we looked at, but obviously it's, sized up. Really liked him. He does like, his attacks have like a magical attack to him. You'll see lightning shoot down once in a while. But overall, I like the effects on him. I like the glow. I like his weapon. I mean, everything about him just looks phenomenal. So he's a top tier unit in my opinion. We're now coming up to a group of units that I was very mixed on how I like them or not. Let me know what you think about these units, because I'm kind of curious what everyone's opinion is. This is my least favorite because the guy up top, I just feel like would fall off. I just don't like the design of it. But who knows? Maybe they built this as a mount idea, but to me, it just doesn't work. This unit, I actually like a little bit more because up top is covered, so you can't tell if there's a person in there. And on top of that, I like that it's a flamethrower on this one, so I like the weapon idea. This one's actually a flamethrower, and it looks really good in combat. I would definitely run this version more. So yeah. Very similar to the last unit we just looked at, except obviously on the back you don't see a pack. You now have the fur up top with a cape. In its right hand you have a pickaxe representing the dwarfs very strongly there. And on the cannon side, it's actually more like a cannon. It's a cannon. It doesn't shoot flames. It's not a flamethrower, so it actually does have projectiles coming out. This is supposed to be representing like shield maidens, kind of. I'm just less of a fan of this one compared to the rest. I just don't really like the shield. I actually like the next one more than this one. I'm more of an offense guy when it comes to these giant monsters. But overall, I mean, missile strength's 1K on this. Range is 450. I mean, they're an overpowered unit. Here we have like their Slayer version of it. You can see, I like the design choice up top to actually make it look like, with the mohawk. And then you have a stone picture, like a stone dragon up on the shoulder. I do like that idea in a stone cape, really. And their weapon's a big axe. So I do like the idea behind this one more. We are now at our artillery and war machine section. These guys here, pretty much their mortars is what they are. I think these did fantastic in combat. I really like this unit, the high firing arc. I could definitely see myself running it. They have a 380 range, 108 missile strength. I think they're really balanced. I do not think this unit's overpowered either. I will be showing some combat footage here at the end of this little group of 3. This is a siege artillery unit. Obviously, you can see it's taken from the Chaos Dwarfs. But overall, other than the fact there's an ogre up there, it's a pretty good unit. You know, I would run this, maybe not a lot, but I do like the idea behind it. And then we have one more here, which is obviously the full-size train with more weapon options here. They're taking a lot from their Chaos Dwarf counterparts on this design, you know, an idea. So, but there are, to me, like some things that still need to be changed to make sense on it. But overall, it's a nice addition. I probably should have had this in front of the full-size train. That way you could have seen this beforehand, but you know what it is. But overall, it's just another war machine for the Dwarf faction. I really don't like them stealing a lot. I don't mind them coming up with unique ideas for the Dwarves, but I hate when they just steal a unit from another faction, bring it straight over. I think it needs more changes to look unique. I did like this one in combat, though. I will say that. The axes, the spears. I think this is a fantastic, you know, melee war machine. Did like this one a lot in combat, and I would run this more often than not. So out of the war machine so far that we've seen, this is my favorite one. So yeah, big fan. I love the idea behind this one because it's just a giant cannon, and when it hits, it goes boom. Okay, it doesn't just do like armor-piercing damage and go through. It actually makes an explosion when it hits, so I like that there's an effect. I've seen some of these where there's no effect when it hits, and I'm just like, that's it. So yeah, big fan of this. Huge missile strength damage. We've got two very similar units we're going to look at. This one's pretty much like an SPG, a self-propelled gun. It's a tank version. I do like the idea behind it. It's like pretty much a big mortar artillery piece. Definitely, I think it adds a lot, and I do like the unique look behind it. So I think this is actually a really good unit for the Dwarf faction. And then we have the tank version of that pretty much. And I do like this. I think this actually looks like a solid tank idea for them. Maybe a little bit more tweaking to kind of, you know, iron out some of the weaker areas on it. But I think overall it's designed really well, and it looks good. So, big fan. And that is the mod spotlight for the Dwarf faction in the Great Harmony Sentinel mod. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And coming soon, we will have the Grand Cafe modded units for this mod coming up. So, stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you.